for a little experimentation. I want that custom doll look without doing a full repaint. So this little doll has volunteered to be our first test subject. I'm going to make her a quick little hospital gown so we don't mess up her dress. I'm using an inexpensive polyester fabric. I like this fabric because you don't have to hem it. So I fold it over, cut a rectangle with the fold at the top, draw a line for the arm and then straight down on both sides. So on the line drawn, trim off the excess, cut an opening at the top, turn it inside out to make a little hospital gown for the doll. That is too cute. Before we start painting her face, I'm going to pour some hot water over her hair, and this will just help to straighten it out a little. Brush it straight without touching it. When the hair is cool enough to touch but still warm, I brush it down and allow it to dry a little. While waiting, I clean the doll's face with rubbing alcohol. And remember to always have adult supervision when working with chemicals. And I remove her lipstick with 100% acetone nail polish remover. Using a Q-tip, it just comes right off. And the lipstick is the only thing I am going to remove from the doll. I cut a triangle of fabric, and this fabric has a little stretch to it, and tie it around the doll's hair to keep her hair out of her face. She is so ready for a spa treatment. I went to the local craft store and found a glazing medium and a gloss varnish. These were like $2 to $3 each. I am also using chalk pastels because I have been able to stain many dolls using these, sometimes by accident. Acrylic paint and some tiny little brushes. Now that I have all of my supplies, all I'm going to do is add to the existing doll eyes. To thin out the paint, I am going to use the glazing medium. Just mix a few drops with the acrylic paint. Put a little on the brush and remove the excess, kind of like a drag and twist. Then paint the corners of her eyes pink. Just a tiny little touch on the inside and outside of the eye. All of my paint is water-based, so I can just use a little bit of water to clean my brush. Mix a tiny bit of black into the glaze, and I'm using toothpicks to mix my colors. And black is such a potent color that I want it to be very diluted because I can always add more, but it is difficult to take away. Get a little paint on the brush and put the tiniest line right next to the pink. It's like barely visible. This doll's pupils are actually dark brown and not black, so I paint over them with a darker black glaze. I don't trust my hand to be very even, so I'm just kind of making little dots. I mix shades of brown and green with the glaze, keeping them separate, and make little dots around the pupil. I used a lime green, then a chocolate brown, and an espresso brown. I think I did a better job on the second eye. Use a little white paint to add a shine in the eye. I added 2 dots and a little line. Once the paint has dried, I'm going to use a little gloss varnish to make them shiny. And the main thing here is to keep it inside the eye. While waiting for it to dry, I add a little brown glaze to the nostrils and to the mouth. I use chalk pastels to lightly dust the cheeks. I am carefully applying this just like I would real makeup, being careful not to get it in the eye. Add a little to the nose and the chin. Now for one of my favorite details, little imperfections in the skin. I'm using a super diluted brown glaze to add freckles and add a few over the nose. Use a little chalk pastel to add a touch of pink to the lips. Use glaze to hold it in place. The glaze dries with a soft satin finish, so if you want it to be a little shinier, then add a touch of the gloss varnish. Add a second coat of gloss varnish to the eyes and allow it to dry overnight. Now let's remove the scarf, and there she is. I am very happy with this experiment, and I'm going to try it again on some more dolls. I'm not worried about it rubbing off because I've used only acrylic paints on dolls before, like the dad's goatee, and it has lasted for years. I wouldn't scrub it with a brush or anything. And the glaze and gloss both say that they are permanent. The only thing that might rub off is the chalk pastels. And if it does, I can just reapply. I think on the next one, I'm going to make the pink in the eye a little smaller. This is a great way to bring new life to an older or unused doll. I would not experiment on my favorite doll. However, if I want to learn how to do repaints, then I have to start somewhere. And of course, we can always replace the body.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Chloe. She was supposed to be home like an hour ago.
Sorry I'm late.
Where have you been?
It took longer than expected at the barn. Let me take a quick shower and then we can get to the movies.
Fine, but hurry up. We want to give a shout out to Kathy P. What's up?
All right, I'm ready.
Chloe, you're not wearing any makeup?
You said hurry.
I know, but I never noticed you had freckles.
Let's go.
And did your eyes change?